Hello and welcome to the Nordic Stitches YouTube channel. This is episode 4. Second try. First, welcome to new and returning viewers. I'm Lilli and I am a knitwear designer from Norway. And I'm coming to you today from central Norway, where I currently live in a temporary house before moving on to my next house that will happen sometime later this year. I recorded this episode last week, but well, let's say it as it is. It was crap because the sound was pretty much just awful. I can edit some of it in the Filmora software that I use, but when I had gotten the wind down to such a point that it wasn't as disturbing, I needed to also start cutting out the parts that didn't work for. So let's just do this again, shall we? I am currently also doing Vlogmas in July because Christmas in July is a thing. A lot of people feel that they don't have time to do the Vlogmas in December. So I decided to try and make it a thing to do Vlogmas in July instead. You can find me most active on Instagram if you want to stay on top of everything Nordic Stitches. That is the place to be. As I record this is July 4th, and to all of you who are American, most of you are American, so to those of you who are, I hope that you had a wonderful 4th of July. And if you're a Patreon and you've seen this for early access on my Patreon page, happy 4th of July. Okay, I'm gonna go and get my second phone that's filming a clip of me talking to this phone for the vlog for today and get my show notes because that's on that phone. Okay, so the Summer Shorties Suck Club is still available for purchase. The knit along for those 4 main pairs will run out August. There's still time to enter if you have only knit a few pairs and still have some left, or if you're a quick knitter and want to knit all 4. They are ankle socks shorties, so they don't take as long as normal long-legged socks. They are ocean themed in song and in title and design. And the response so far has been overwhelmingly positive, and I have loved seeing all of your sock projects grow out. So keep up the good work and keep posting in the group. Okay, so I have released 2 new patterns since last. Xmas in July sock patterns. I also released a shawl pattern July 1st, Granny's Geraniums. This design is made in honor of and memory of my late grandmother, whom I've never met. She died from colon cancer a few years before I was born. And I originally said that 50% of the proceeds were going to go to cancer research. But you see, the thing is, you see a dollar. You see a pattern for sale on Ravelry and it's like $6. That's what I charge for my shawl patterns. And when I say 50% of the proceeds, that doesn't mean $3 because Ravelry takes a little slump every month from us who are designers so that they can continue being Ravelry, so that we can continue having patterns for sale for you. And PayPal takes a little something for every sale. Not a lot, but you know, it's something. And if 300 people buys this pattern, it's not going to be $3 times 300. And I came to the conclusion after my rant this morning, well, during my rant rather, that yeah, I'm just gonna donate 50%. So when you see the pattern, $6, 50% of that, so $3 per pattern, will go to cancer research. It's gonna save me a lot of counting to figure out what is left for each month, and it's also going to give a lot more money to cancer research, I'm hoping. So, win-win. And some have already started to cast it on. I am super excited to see this design grow in different yarns all over the world, and It's cool. So thank you to everybody who has purchased the pattern so far, and yeah. I also want to say thank you to everybody who has supported me over on Patreon, who has decided to come to become a Patreon, and to all of those who have chosen to support me over on Etsy by buying my progress keepers as well. It's been a very uplifting week. For knits in progress, there's only one. I don't have any finished knits, but I do have this Vinterfjell yoke that I'm working on. I'm cropping it a little bit in the waist, and I've heard a few people say that they don't like the flopping off the arms around when they knit yokes. So what I do is I tuck them into the armholes once the arms are attached, and I tie them on the inside because I don't like it either. So I just tuck them in there, tie a little knot so they stick together, and it's basically just like, you know, knitting on a bag. It works for me. So that's the only reason this is out here, because I don't think I've knit more than the 5 centimeters. Or had I split for sleeves the last time you saw it? Anyway, it's far from being done, so that's the only thing I'm showing this to you. That's the only reason I'm showing this to you today. For Vlogmas in July, I've been working a little bit on my Granny Square Sparkle blanket, which is a scrap yarn blanket that I am crocheting up into Granny Squares to be a Christmas blanket, Christmas scrap yarn blanket. And I'm done with some of the squares. This is what I have left of that color. I dyed this yarn just for fun. I never dye anything to sell, so it's just for me, and I never write down what I do. I just, you know, remember details. This is a non-superwash woolen yarn for socks, so it probably has some polyamide in there, and of course there's the sparkle. This one I dyed with tea bags, and I tried using up as much of the scraps as I possibly could, so not all these squares look the same. Do not fly inside, Bumblebee. Good Bumblebee. The cell phone is standing inside the door on my living room floor because I don't want the wind to destroy the video this time. Anyway, I wanted to use as much scraps as I possibly could for this blanket, so they're the same yarns, they just don't look the same. But I think that's fine anyway, because I really like how they came out. And so that's that. That's how much I've done on the crochet blanket. The reason I don't have a lot more to show you is that the few days before Vlogmas in July started off on my channel, I was working on a mitten design, because I'm finally jumping in, designing a mitten pattern with stranded color work. Oh my goodness, it's all very exciting. And I will show the design to you once it's finished. I just want to make sure that I get all the tweaks out, and it's okay to go to test knitters and stuff like that. So yeah. The next thing I have that is in progress is a cross stitch. This also leads me into, very transitional into, incoming. So, but before I do that, I want to say that I may have broken my yarn band a little, because I am a great supporter of the message of the Tits Out Collective. I mean the main message. It seems that some have misread the whole thing for being something with copying, but that's not it. So I recommend you, if you don't know what it is, check out Countess Blaze, which is a UK-based indie dyer, and read up on her blog, and just check out the Tits Out Collective hashtag on Instagram, because I think there were somewhere about 250 and 300 indie designers and indie dyers who came together for this collection, and it's been absolutely amazing. So when they did this, every designer and every dyer let some of the income from that specific pattern or that specific yarn go to a charity of their choosing. Now, if you don't know already, I am a big supporter of the causes, so I have bought 2 skeins. They have not arrived yet, but I have bought 2 skeins of yarn from Catherine, who is Crafternoon Treats. Oh, she's amazing. And she and I have a collaboration coming later this year, so you better want to stay tuned for that. And I also grabbed 1 braid. I really wish I'd gotten 2 now, because I could see myself really knitting a sweater with it anyway. I got a braid of fiber, hand-dyed fiber by Amy, who is Stranded Dye Works. I may grab some more if she continues to dye fiber, because I really liked what I saw in her shop, and it was so hard not to get anything else. The cross stitch that I was referring to before I started talking about Countess Blaze and Tits Out Collective, I want to say that I have respect for those who might have problems with this collective and hashtag, but the meaning of it and the message and the charity fundraising, it's just amazing to me, and I will talk about it. I personally think that it's a great thing for knitters, crafters coming together and doing something good for others. For cross stitch, I got 2 new cross stitches in the mail. I also grabbed 4 hanks of undyed sparkle yarn, just for the scrap yarn blanket for Christmas. But I also got a couple of cross stitches. The first one says, "Do not read the next sentence," and then underneath here in tiny little writing it says, "You little rebel, I like you." Had to have that. And I also got "Wake up, kick ass, repeat." And when that's finished, it'll look like this. And I was talking to Amelia on the phone earlier this morning, as we do, because I bought these from her store. She works in a yarn shop, and she posted for her yarn shop. Posted for the yarn shop she works in on Facebook that they had gotten these cross stitches. And cross stitching in Norway has been mostly these outdated patterns. You know, it looks like they may have been there for a while. So when these came along, I was like, I want some of that. So I, through the magic of a app we have, messaged her a little bit of money, and she sent me these. So I started this after asking on Insta stories which one you thought that I should start first, and the majority of you said this one. Wake up, kick ass, repeat. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to embroider at that, and I'm going to do that, and it's going to be wonderful. Now, I was wondering, do you know of any, and this is mostly to Norwegians, because I like supporting Norwegian and local stores when and if I can. So if you are Norwegian and watching this, do you know anywhere I can buy round picture frames? Not just to hang on walls, but also with a foot so they can stand. Please drop me a comment down below, and don't be afraid to link it, because YouTube may spam put your comment into the spam filter, but I always read through those comments anyway and publish the ones that aren't spam. So if you know of any Norwegian shops that do have this, either online or a chain store that you can find in most cities, please let me know, because I really want round picture frames for this. You know, one of those thick frames, almost like those IKEA frames. So yeah, I'm kind of hoping to hear from you. Okay, so for drop spinning this time, I have some yarn that I have packaged up after recording the last episode that didn't really happen, so I'm going to insert pictures of that here. That is rainbow yarn spun from a rainbow art bat from Spin City, UK. And I also spun up a rainbow. I'm all about spinning the rainbows. I'm spinning rainbows these days. I have soaked them, I have set the twist, and they are ready to be used. And they look like this. And I think they came out very beautiful, she said. Not shy at all. And yeah, so I really like this. These are 20-gram hanks. It came in a bag like this. It was 100 grams divided into 5 different bats. Well, fiber blends. I don't know what you call it. I really need to do something about this. Anyway, the fiber is baby llama, merino wool, rose fiber, and stellina sparkles. So that is merino wool, not merino and wool, and stellina sparkles. And the stellina really sheds. I don't know if I like it. I do like how it came out at the end, but spinning with it was kind of a... I think it's like when you have a Christmas tree that sheds, you're still gonna pick up one of those tiny little needles from the tree when Easter comes. And I think that's pretty much what I'm gonna feel like when it comes to the stellina, because I still find stellina. I'm pretty sure Makula has eaten some and she's probably gonna poop sparkle. So I do love how the yarn came out. Okay, let's tackle the incoming. No, let me first show you what I dyed. On Etsy, you can get undyed fiber as well as dyed fiber. So I grabbed myself 400 grams of merino wool undyed and dyed it. This is 200 grams. And I want to spin this up for Tour de Fleece, which I'm going to talk about when I'm done with this. This is dyed with tea and coffee. I don't know how much water, I don't know how much tea, don't know how much coffee, but I do know that I really liked how it came out. And as you can see here, I've been opening it and checking it out, and there are some white spots there. I also have gotten a lot of fiber this week because, well, when you get a message on Instagram saying, I think you spin lovely, I would like to give you this box of fiber. You think, oh, maybe there's a couple 100 grams of fiber coming my way. Yes, please, I'd love that. It's Molly of a Homespun House. And as you will know, if you follow her on both YouTube and on Instagram, she and her family have now moved to America. And in that process, she gifted me a lot of fiber. Let's just say that I'm not going to spend any time showing you everything in the box, but I will show you the box. So, this is the box that Molly sent me. And I told Molly that I would talk about this on the podcast and spread the love, because I cannot keep all this love to myself. So, some of it will be giveaway prizes and, you know, prizes for knit-alongs, spin-alongs, whatever. And then I have kept some for myself that I've set aside, which you will see whenever I spin it up. So I just want to show you a few other things that's left in the box. First, this one I'm going to keep for myself because I'm selfish like that. And Molly, you're probably, you know, grinning a little bit now, because I think Molly now knows that Collins and Dale are my favorite colorway of hers and yarn base. And this is yarn, this is her Collins on Dale. Yes. That is the only hank of yarn from the box that I'm going to keep for myself. I did not know there was going to be yarn in there. I opened the box and the yarn was the first thing I saw, and I was like, what? Anyway, thank you, Molly. My viewers will really appreciate this when the day comes. Homespun house yarn for prices. Wow, that's luxurious. And I can show you a little bit of the fiber that she sends that I decided to use for giveaways. This is one of them. I'm gonna guess it's 100 grams. I don't know, I haven't read the information yet. But there's some fiber in here. And there's some roll-legs. Yeah, pretty excited about this. So there is yarn and fiber in here that I will be giving away in the future to some lucky buggers out there. So I have a question this week from the questions thread over on in my Ravelry group. So if you have questions for me or the podcast, nothing too personal, that's the place to drop them. Julia, who is 4Jules4 on Ravelry, and she is from the United States, she asks, how did you learn to spin? I know you said in your video that you spin for therapy. It is soothing, and I don't know the technical terms, but you do a fantastic job. Your beautiful hand-spun socks inspired me to try the same, so I spun some fiber for socks too. It's unfortunately close to a sport weight and varies a bit in thickness, but it will be socks soon. Thanks for the inspiration. Well, first, I am very happy that I have inspired you to spin for socks. My yarn was cobweb to thin fingering, so my yarn also varied a lot in thickness. I actually considered buying thinner needles. I have 1mm needles, but they are so pointy they're just gonna split the yarn, so they would be like knitting with sewing needles, I guess. Anyway, you ask how I learned to spin. The first time I saw somebody spin was Kristen, who is Woolen Vine Yarns and Yarngasm podcast. She was just sitting there, you know, talking about this is how I drop spin, and it was like a breeze, and I was so fascinated. And I decided that I want to try to drop spin. I want to try that. So I went to Etsy and I searched for drop spindles. And I came across a drop spindle starters kit from Shankly's, and I bought that. When it arrived, I had it for a while before I started to spin, so I think I started to spin sometime mid-June last year, so it's been just over a year now. And the first yarn that I spun was what I today call art yarn. Back then, when I tried it, it was, oh my goodness, that's just, you know, whatever. But as I kept practicing, it became easier, and I very quickly, I think it was just a couple of weeks before I actually found my preferred thickness of spinning. I know that drop spinning isn't for everybody, so I really recommend you to get something that's, you know, maybe on the cheap side, just in case you don't like it. And I think that you will get very far with one of those starter kits. And it's not just Shankly's who sells them, so you can just go to Etsy and search for starter drop spinning kits and you know, choose from what you see and what you fancy. I did message Kristen later last year asking if she had any more advice on drop spinning and you know, besides practice. And she did include a couple of tips. I think it was a Etsy class in there, and I also think she referenced to a book. So I'm gonna see if I can relocate that email that she responded me with, and see if I can't remember to put that in the description box below this video, so that maybe you can benefit from it too. But basically, I just saw someone drop spin, thought, that's cool, I want to do that, and then I did it. And I practiced, and I practiced, and I practiced. And the longest, the longest I've sat spinning in one go is 6 hours. I did have toilet breaks and coffee breaks. I don't think I ate, but it's 6 hours, one go. I spent quite a bit of fiber those hours. Oh well, the only thing I can recommend you to do is search for videos on YouTube on how to drop spin. I have some of them saved in my watch later list, and I can try to remember to link those as well, because they also were very helpful. Their YouTube and Google are the two biggest search engines in the world. What you want to know is on there, and I'm guessing in any language basically. So but just keep in mind that if you search for it in English, you're probably going to end up with a lot more alternatives. So if you search in your own language first and you don't find as much, just try searching in English. And sometimes it can be a little difficult understanding what people say, but I find that just watching people, how they do things, can be an inspiration for me to try it myself. So yeah. And also, thicker yarn for socks isn't necessarily a bad thing when you come to winter. So don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged by having thicker yarn. If you live in a place that's warmer, maybe you know somebody who lives in a place that's not as warm, and you can give them the yarn, or you can give them socks made up in a thicker yarn and keep them warm. So it's we have a saying in Norway, it's not so bad that it's not good for nothing. I think that's good translating. Well, not in all cases, of course, but in most cases. Anyway, thank you so much for your question, and happy spinning, I guess. About spinning, Tour de Fleece kicks off July 7th. I think Tour de France kicks off July 9th. But I am joining in with my drop spindles and some of the fiber, and well, I am planning on spinning up the fiber that I dyed, the fiber that I bought from Amy on in Stranded Dye Works, and some of the fiber that I was gifted from Molly. So I should be busy spinning these next few weeks. So the knitting content these in July will probably not be as represented, because I really wanted in on the Tour de Fleece last year, but I did not feel comfortable doing that, just having spun for a month. So I'm doing it this year, and well, it will be yarn related, so I will show off the spins in progress, the finished spinning projects, and everything like that. So I hope that you will stay tuned and come back and watch the podcast episodes the next few weeks as well, even though the knitting may not be as represented. So I am going to include some hiking videos and stuff at the end here, vlogging things. But not as much, because I am doing Vlogmas in July, so there's one video every week. And if you don't have any, if you don't like Christmas, you know, there's nothing Christmas in there except for the intro. So you're really, you know, you're safe to watch it if you know you don't like Christmas or anything, or for religious reasons don't celebrate Christmas. Anyway, I have a 3K follower. I have a 3,000 subscriber giveaway to announce. Last episode, I showed you some purple handspun yarn that I'm partially comfortable giving away. And I don't know how to pronounce your last name, Teresa, but the winner, who was chosen by random number generator, was Teresa Borglin. I'm gonna put it on the screen. So Teresa, congratulations. Drop me a comment down below this video when you've seen this, Teresa, with your Ravelry username, and I will get in touch with you on Ravelry. Thank you so much for watching, whoever you are, wherever you are. I hope that you are having a wonderful day, and I hope to see you back here for Vlogmas in July, today, tomorrow, and the rest of July, and for the next episode. Bye!
Is it recording now? Oh, it's recording.
Okay, so the cross stitch that I mentioned in transitioning into incomings that I'm working on is not here. Goodness. Bring them the show notes. Sama.